His name was Leonardo da Vinci, the greatest genius who ever lived. 5 centuries ago, he was born in a small Italian town, but his mind seemed to come from the future. He was a painter, an inventor, and a scientist. He imagined flying machines before engines existed. He studied the human body with incredible precision. He designed machines no one had ever seen. But behind the famous paintings, there was a deep mystery. Leonardo was obsessed with understanding the world. He wanted to know how everything worked, from the flow of water to the beating of the human heart. This is the legend of Leonardo da Vinci. Our story begins in April of the year 1452, in a small village called Vinci in Tuscany. There, among green hills, Leonardo was born. His father was a notary named Ser Piero. His mother, Caterina, was a simple peasant woman. Because his parents were not married, Leonardo was considered an outsider in society. He could not follow his father's legal profession. He could not attend a traditional university. But this limitation became his greatest strength. He studied nature instead of old Latin books. The forest became his first and best teacher. He watched birds glide through the sky for hours. He studied insects, plants, and flowing rivers. He drew flowers and rocks in incredible, realistic detail. One day, his father asked him to paint a wooden shield. Leonardo painted a monster so realistic and terrifying that his father was actually shocked and afraid. It was clear that the boy had a supernatural talent. When he was 14, he moved to the city of Florence. Florence was the center of the Renaissance world. There he became an apprentice to Andrea del Verrocchio. In that busy workshop, Leonardo learned everything. He learned how to grind colors, cast bronze, and build machines. Leonardo believed the eyes reveal the soul. For him, painting was a serious science. He wanted to capture every layer of human emotion. He studied how light touches different surfaces. He developed a technique called sfumato. Sfumato creates soft, smoky shadows. It removes hard lines between light and darkness. But Leonardo was never satisfied with just appearances. He wanted to know what existed beneath the skin. He began to study the human body in secret. At night, he visited local hospitals and morgues. He examined muscles, bones, nerves, and organs. He wanted to understand how a smile begins in the face. He was among the first to draw a baby in the womb. He mapped the heart and the flow of blood. His drawings were centuries ahead of modern medicine. In 1482, Leonardo moved to the powerful city of Milan. There he met Duke Ludovico Sforza. He did not present himself only as a simple painter. He wrote a famous letter offering his services as an engineer. He said he could build powerful war machines. He designed armored war vehicles like tanks. He imagined giant crossbows and cannons. He created portable bridges for soldiers to cross rivers. He even designed a mechanical knight. It could sit, stand, and move its arms. It is often called the world's first robot. In Milan, Leonardo was also a master of ceremonies. He organized grand festivals and designed incredible stage costumes. He invented a mechanical lion that could walk and open its chest. But Leonardo had one great, lifelong obsession. He dreamed that humans could fly like birds. He studied the anatomy of wings and feathers. He filled hundreds of pages with flying machines. He designed the aerial screw, or helicopter. He also created a pyramid-shaped parachute design. Modern engineers tested his parachute in the year 2000, and they discovered that it works perfectly. Leonardo always carried small notebooks in his belt. He recorded every idea, dream, and observation. Today, more than 7,000 pages still exist, but reading them is not an easy task. He used a technique called mirror writing. He wrote his notes from right to left. Some believe he wanted to hide his secrets. Others think it was easier for him as a left-handed man. He wrote about gravity, the moon, and the tides. He even studied fossils on the tops of mountains. He realized that the Earth was much older than people thought. Leonardo loved animals and nature deeply. He refused to eat meat or hurt any creature. He often bought birds in the noisy marketplace. Then he opened the cages and watched them fly away. He believed all life was connected by the same laws. While living in Milan, Leonardo received a grand commission. He was asked to paint a wall in a monastery. The subject was the Last Supper of Jesus. He wanted to capture the most dramatic moment. The moment when Jesus says one disciple will betray him. Leonardo painted shock and anger on every single face. You can see a different emotion in each apostle. But Leonardo hated traditional fresco techniques. He experimented with a new type of oil paint. Unfortunately, the paint began to peel almost immediately. The wall was damp and the experiment failed. Yet even damaged, the masterpiece amazed the entire world. It remains one of the most iconic images in human history. In the busy streets of Florence, another great genius was rising. His name was Michelangelo Buonarroti. He was younger, stronger, and very different from Leonardo. Leonardo was an elegant man who loved fine silk clothes. Michelangelo was messy, solitary, and lived only for his work. The two men did not like each other at all. It was a battle between two different styles of art. Michelangelo once insulted Leonardo in a public square. He called Leonardo a man who never finished his projects. Leonardo looked at Michelangelo's statues and said they looked like sacks of nuts. The city of Florence decided to test them both. They were asked to paint two giant battle murals in the same hall. It was the greatest art competition in history. Two geniuses working under the same roof in a race. In the end, neither artist finished the wall, but their rivalry pushed them to work much harder. It forced them to reach for absolute perfection. Later, Leonardo returned to Florence and started a new work. The woman was Lisa Gherardini, the wife of a merchant. Today, we know her as the famous Mona Lisa. He worked on this small painting for many, many years. He used thousands of tiny, transparent layers of paint. He never truly finished it to his own satisfaction, and he never gave it to the person who paid for it. He carried it with him everywhere, for the rest of his life. What makes this painting so famous across the world? It is her mysterious and changing smile. When you look directly at her eyes, she seems to smile at you with kindness. But when you look directly at her lips, the smile seems to disappear. Leonardo used his knowledge of optics to create this magical illusion. In his final years, Leonardo received a special invitation. The King of France, Francis I, asked him to come and live in his court. Leonardo moved to a beautiful castle called Clos Lucé. The king admired him and treated him like a father. He called Leonardo the greatest philosopher and artist. There, Leonardo organized his thousands of pages of notes. He continued studying the movement of water in canals. In May of the year 1519, he died peacefully. He was 67 years old. Legend says the king held Leonardo in his arms at the exact moment of his death. He left his precious notebooks to his loyal student, Francesco Melzi. Leonardo da Vinci changed how we see the entire world. He proved that human curiosity has no possible limits. He was a scientist who saw beauty in mathematics, and an artist who saw perfect logic in nature. His ideas inspired the technology of the modern world. His paintings changed the history of art forever. 5 centuries later, his genius still inspires every one of us. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, subscribe for more historical stories and mysteries. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter.